We are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today, I wanted to share, this is part 2 of Rejection and Femininity. If you haven't seen Rejection and Femininity part 1, I do recommend that you check that one out first because you'll get the basics and fundamentals of it. And like I said last time, this is such a huge topic because this is it. This is the reason why there's a Men of High Value movement. This is the reason why there's a Three Girls in Love movement. This is female nature. If you understand the aspect of rejection and the need for acceptance and the way that it functions differently for women than it functions for men, you'll understand masculinity and femininity. If you understand those two things, you'll have a fantastic life. That's as simple as it gets. Because this is life, guys. This is how it works. Men were designed to be rejected a lot. And it's their purpose in life to be rejected and to overcome and get through rejection and then manage to be able to control their thoughts, their emotions, and their behaviors in order for them to enjoy rejection so that they can achieve everything in life that they desire. This is our life force as men to seek out rejection. Okay? It fuels us. It makes us fired up outside our brains once we're masculine. If we are feminine as guys, then things get jinxed and we try to stay away from rejection and become anxious and become depressed and all that stuff because we think that we're not going to be able to achieve our dreams and goals. And we become demotivated. Feminine men have issues with rejection. Masculine men get fired up outside their brains about rejection as long as it doesn't exceed their capacity, right? What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And that's the masculine way. However, for women, it's completely different because the more rejection heaps up on them, okay, the more they begin to blame other people, which is the correct thing to do for women, because the more rejection women face and the more they try to tackle it, the more they try to be disciplined, the more they try to overcome their rejection, the more masculine they're becoming. This masculinity is going to cause these women, okay, to basically go through health issues and go through relationship problems and go through, life becomes hard. It becomes difficult. And it's becoming more and more difficult over time. It's not, for women, it's like the more rejection is heaped on them, the harder it is to tackle the next rejection. Okay, it's not like they become stronger, right? It's the same principle. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. However, it causes them to sacrifice everything in their lives in order for them to overcome the rejection that's going on. It probably doesn't make sense right away, but I'll explain a little bit throughout the video. So, let me start this out by explaining the story of how this movement came about. It started out with me having sucky relationships for several years until I finally found my now wife, okay? So I had been rejected continuously. I was the common denominator and women were dumping me continuously. I basically had 3 girls dump me in a row in a matter of 2.5 years or something like that, or less than 2 years, something. So, and then once I entered into my marriage, I was just like, now I figured it out, okay? Because now it's working. And it worked until we actually got married. And then the honeymoon sucked, okay? It went all the way down from there. And it continued to go down. And I was just like, well, this is marriage, I guess. I mean, I'm going to do the best thing out of it. And she was controlling herself. This is important, okay? Before we got married, remember that opposites attract, and during that time I was extremely feminine. I still am in many aspects because the fact that I spend a lot of time with my wife, and also there's a lot of other aspects to it, but I am 10 times more masculine today than I was back then when I was getting married, okay? So during that time frame, femininity attracts masculinity. My wife was masculine, but she was also feminine in many aspects. I attracted her to me, and I also had another woman that was interested in me at that time. And that's one of the things that attracted my wife to me and basically gave her the pull. So she managed to secure me as her man. I basically gave up the other woman, and then I was just like, okay, this is amazing. Now we're together, and wow, amazing relationship before marriage. Then we got married, and it went downhill from there immediately. Immediately. Okay, so you understand that I was feminine, and I became more and more and more and more and more feminine over time. Have you noticed that very often married couples, okay, people who had friends before they got married, suddenly they get married and they disappear from the face of the earth. Where did they go? They're having problems. They're having issues. That's what happens. And they end up beginning to spend a lot of time together, even more so than they did before, in order to work things out and in order to plan and things and in order for them to prepare for kids, and both of them are working in order to provide for each other, blah, 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 blah. They disappear very often. And it requires discipline to focus on other people outside of their relationship. What happened in our relationship, though, was that my wife wanted things to work out because her parents got divorced. And I was passionate about our relationship working out because I had family as my highest value, and she did too. So we knew we wouldn't want to get a divorce or break up or anything like that. It was like, for me, it was like far from my mind. For her, she was going through what I call basically secrets. And I'm talking about secrets in terms of pretending as if everything is okay. Women do that sometimes in order for them not to lose that which they have. Okay, so they basically keep in their secrets. You know this, you're a woman, and they'll hold it in, but then there's an exponential curve. Okay, so you hold in the secret, but it causes you to be burdened. It's a rejection because you've got this secret and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and you've got to let it go. You've got to get it out. This is important because she was holding stuff in that I did not know, which was that she was losing attraction to me fast. Like the attraction, she was attracted to me before we got married. Why would a woman get married to a man if she's not attracted to him if he doesn't have any money? And I did not have any money during that time. So she obviously was attracted to me. She obviously was attracted to my goals, my dreams, my visions, all that stuff. So we had that. But the attraction level was decreasing fast. And she was becoming burdened. She became pregnant. We had a baby within the first year of our marriage. And then she became pregnant after 18 months she became pregnant after 9 months or 8 months of having that baby. So she was becoming burdened and burdened and burdened. And this was me. This was caused by me. I burdened her because I wanted kids now. Okay? So what happened? Over the next 2.5 years, maximum 3 years, she was now beginning to tell me, like, there was an exponential decline curve in the sense of attraction. She was not interested in me at all. She was, like, I could see that things were bubbling over. And she had been keeping all this inside, trying to make things work, trying to make sure that she was a good girl, trying to make sure that, she always was, faithful and always this, that, and the other. She was struggling a lot. And guess who didn't know anything about it? Me. But it came out in other aspects. It came out in accidents. It came out in whatever thing that happened in our first 3 years of marriage. So what fixed it all? When she came to me and told me, I do not want to divorce you, then I began to be like, what? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense, because we were so on the same, agreeing about everything, right? And this is the time when I was like, she's not attracted to me. She doesn't want to divorce me. She's not interested in what she was interested in before we got married, in terms of inside the marriage, the sexuality and the intimacy part and all that stuff. And she was struggling a lot. And I was just like, this is it. It's time. And I sat her down. And for those of you who have been on my channel, know this story. that I sat her down and I wanted to hear everything. Now, for me, because now I finally understood that there were secrets that I didn't know about. What the heck? What's going on? Like, this is ridiculous. We don't have any secrets between each other. I want complete transparency, complete openness, because if we don't have that, I will never figure out that which works. And I had a passion to figure out how to make relationships amazing, because that was one of the things that I was seeing out there, is that relationships suck. We've got technology, we've got this, that, and the other. Everything is progressing in society, but relationships still suck. How? Why? Doesn't make any sense. Now I figured, I finally came to the point where now I could receive everything in terms of trust and openness. And the only thing I needed to tell her was that I would not leave her. No matter what. Tell me everything. I'm going to stay by your side no matter what. And what happened? Well, she sat on my lap. She began to cry, kind of uncontrollably, because now I was allowing her to vent. I was allowing her to get things out without her having any fears or worries that I would leave her, or that something would happen between our relationship, because she wanted this to work, right? That's why she had to get it out. She had to tell me that she didn't want a divorce. So, long story short, what ended up happening is I found out everything, and it wasn't like big things. It wasn't big deals, but for her it was a big deal. But she had kept it all in, but for me it was just like, okay, that's fine. Like, okay, some interesting things about female nature I'm learning here, but alright. And then over the next 7 years, man, I've learned so much about what's going on. We've learned together. She's completely, 100%. in on this with me, okay? This is not just me talking to the internet. She's awake. She listens to it. She's fired up outside her brain about this entire movement. What happened? Well, first of all, we began to figure out that, man, women have issues. They have a lot of problems. Like, me as a man, I was thinking that everything's kind of okay. This is how it works. This is relationships. And over time, you know, as long as we keep both working on our relationship, then things will exponentially improve. Well, they weren't improving. So that's why I was like, what's going on? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And for me to make the relationships work, it has to make sense. I was doing everything according to the book, everything according to the books. I was reading dozens of books to understand relationships, people skills, and understanding what churches and religions were teaching about relationships and how to make marriage work and all stuff. None of it was working. The more obedient I was to those things that were being taught, the worse our relationship got. So I had to understand that, okay, let's go into the manosphere, the seduction community, the red pill community, and look at what they have of information. It is a horrific place to go. You as a woman, if you want to go in there, you can, but it's ugly. It's bad. It will reject you. Because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about there blames women. I don't blame women a bit. Not at all. I understand women because I understand women. I don't blame them for anything. It is not their fault. And if we understand that, then I wouldn't, if I were you, I would not delve into the manosphere and the red pill community and checking out the MGTOWs and what men actually believe about women after going through case study upon case study for thousands, millions of case studies have been done in the seduction community in order to figure out how to get laid. That's what they want. That's their only immediate gratification thing that they think about. I want to get laid. What is it that works in order to get laid with women? That's what they study. And they blame women. Okay? So what happens? Well, basically, all of these millions of case studies are now online. Men are beginning to adopt those philosophies from those players and ruining women's lives even more because they blame. This is the oxymoron of men. Okay, the dual nature of their femininity, because players are feminine whether you like it or not, whether they like it or not when I say so, because it's based on immediate gratification. I want sex now. and then I want sex tomorrow, and then I want sex the next day, and then the next day and the next day. That's feminine. That's not masculine. Masculinity would be to, how can I solve the world's problems, right? Because I'm not an island. If the world sucks, then my life will suck, right? As a masculine man, you'd be like, no. I only care about what happens in my close vicinity. Yeah, if you only do that, then how are we gonna solve everything? Masculinity is to think big, to think global population, to think responsibility, to take upon yourself responsibility. Femininity is to blame others and to absolve yourself of responsibility. That's good for women. But for men, it's a very bad idea when men begin to do that, because they have the chip of not caring at all, not so ever. They're neutral, right? So they don't automatically care about all the problems in the world. They very often only care about themselves if they're feminine. So if you understand this aspect that players are feminine, they only think about immediate gratification, and they're all about emotion, and they're all about blaming. If we know that, and we know at the same time that the thing that they were basically sharing with me, that I was going through this whole process. I had heard nothing about this in the past, and I was going through a change, a metamorphosis from women are amazing. Women are absolutely amazing, and, they wouldn't want to do anything wrong. Like, that was my experience. I grew up with a fantastic mother. I grew up with fantastic women around me in a church setting where women were trying to control themselves, but I was noticing that they were not able to control themselves. I've seen a lot of case studies throughout my days of women, what they say and then what they do, and the incongruency very often between the two. Okay, I just rhymed. That's funny. So what was going on there is, sometimes I forget what I was going to say, but what's happening now is I was beginning to understand that it's women are the problem. Women have all these problems. And I don't have any problems. Men don't have a lot of problems, because it's simple. For us, it's okay, we just need sex. We just need food, and it's nice if the sex is variable and it's enjoyable and the woman is excited. And it's kind of lackluster if the woman's not excited and it's the same one every time, and it's like, as a masculine man, right? You have a polygamous nature. So but it's simple, okay? But I can discipline myself. I don't need to have a polygamous nature, right? And I can suffer through it and basically be okay with just having my one wife. If that's what the universe desires for me to do, then I'll just do that. No problem. Okay, I'll live through it. If that's the purpose of life, then so be it. Okay, I just need food, and I just need, sleep, and I just need a purpose, like in terms of mastering something out there and solving problems and becoming rich. Like, I was just like, it's very simple for men, and it's not a big deal. For women, oh my gosh, that's a whole new ball game, because it's their cycle, it's children, it's their health, it's different. It's like, there are so many different aspects to women's problems than men's. Women have more needs than men do. Men can go without things for a long period of time if they practice the correct principles. Again, I'll explain briefly the aspect of sex. I Will and Jada video, there was so many people who were saying, oh no, men need sex more than women. Women can go a long time without it. I'll briefly explain what I meant by that, because I'm 100% serious. I stand by that till this day. Women need sex more than men do. And the reason why is because men were designed to be disciplined and go against their feminine nature of wanting to ejaculate all the time. That's feminine. If men discipline themselves and do not ejaculate and practice semen retention, their need for sexuality becomes massively minimalized. Massively minimalized if they get past 30 days. If they're in their first 30 days, they need it all the time. Okay, they're feminine. It's a detox from femininity. It gets worse before it gets better. But those men that manage to get past 30 days, They desire sexuality, but the need, the desperation, the I need to have it, I need to have it, that doesn't happen anymore at all. I know what I'm talking about because I've been living this lifestyle for a long period of time. Okay? We started practicing semen retention 7 years ago or something like that. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. I have no need for sex. I can go months. And I did when my wife was in America for 130 days or whatever it was. It was 5 months or something. I went without it. Completely without it. And I enjoyed it. It was fantastic to live without sexuality. To not even touch myself. No ejaculation, nothing. Okay? I'm just explaining to you, as a woman, for you, you need it more than men do. And I'm not saying that you should go and get it. Okay? I'm just saying from the aspect of you as a woman, really, do you want to go weeks, months, years without it? No, you don't. And you know what's going to happen to you if you do. You get mental tirades. You become emotionally unstable. You become like, oh, I need this. I need this. And it's women are sexual creatures. And they're way more sexual than men are. However, what's happening in the world today? It's warped. Men are remaining in their femininity, meaning they're sexual. And they're always needy and desperate towards it, while women are masculine and are disciplining themselves in order to achieve their purposes. And because they're disciplining themselves, they're becoming emotionally dead, they're going inside their heads instead of being in their bodies. The more that they do that, guess what happens to their sexuality? It becomes latent. You're putting a lid on it. Probably not on purpose, but that's what happens. So when you do have sexuality, if you've experienced sexuality in your life, which most of you have, you'll notice that it's nice to get that release sometimes. Do you understand what I mean? But when you are masculine, very often you need to have something in order for you to stimulate your brain and sexuality for you to enjoy it. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, you'll be in your head in the bedroom. That's a problem. The more feminine you are, the more you'll actually be in your body and enjoy the now. The more masculine you are, you're going to be in the past, you're going to be in the future, but you're not going to be in the now. But the man is so freaking out and excited, so he's going to be in the now. I'm going to explain more about that and how men basically steal women's thunder continuously in the bedroom. Very bad idea. Okay, so going back to the story of explaining about me, myself, and my wife, we discovered she was the problem. We got to fix you. And from what we understand now from the manosphere, we understand now that actually the best thing is if you're submissive. Because the moment you're submissive, just hear me out, the moment you're submissive, and we were very wrong about this one, the more power I'm going to have in the relationship. And we understand that women are attracted to power, the ability to do, or, you know, the someone having power over them. That's what women are attracted to. Why do women sleep around with bosses? Why do women sleep around with... Do you understand? If you've been really looking, and you know what happens to your brain when you see power, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So we were like, okay, well, we can actually make it so that I have power in the relationship all of the time. That's easy. You be submissive, right? That's the logical conclusion. If you're submissive all of the time, then everything's going to work out. I'm going to have power. You're going to be attracted to me. And because you're attracted to me, you will have capacity. And because you have capacity, you're able to do whatever hard thing is in front of you. We did not know about masculinity and femininity at this point. What do you think happened? Well, the attraction level increased at times. Okay, so she would be submissive, which was great for me. She was kind of submissive beforehand as well, because she was controlling herself, right? But now she was disciplined towards submission. Okay, and the attraction level absolutely went up. I became a god to her, right? except for the fact that her life was still being freaking burdened. Okay, she still had 2 kids. I needed to go out and make money. I needed to be gone most of the time. She was alone, depressed, by herself, alone in the home. And she had 2 kids that were yelling at her, needing this and that and the other. And she needed to make food 6 times a day. And she needed this and that, cleaning everything, blah, 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 blah. She became massively burdened. And burdened even more when I came home and I wanted stuff. Okay? I wanted food. I wanted the house to be clean. I wanted the kids to be okay. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, the more I was burdening her and telling her what to do, the worse it became in our relationship. We took every principle to the extreme and saw if it worked. It did not work. This was the time, after 3 years of not having any fights, none whatsoever, ever, no fights in the first 3 years, we began to fight. Oh my gosh. No peace anymore. Now, my wife did not have peace in her heart before then, during that time she was keeping secrets, but at least I did. I had peace in my heart. I was struggling with the fact that I, was rejecting my polygamous nature, of course, as a masculine man, but I was also very feminine, which basically made me monogamous. So I want to make this work, and I love her with all my heart, blah, 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 and I don't want to be with anyone else. No, I was rejecting my polygamous nature back then. But anyway, did it work? No, it didn't, okay? The more submissive she was trying to be, the more she was rejected by life. The more she was rejected by me. And the more that happens, then the worse it became. In terms of her health, in terms of her relationships, in terms of her ability to control her behavior, her thoughts. The more a woman tries to control herself, the less she's able to control herself. Okay, let me wrap this up quickly. What was the solution? Well, we did 100% 180. 100% 180 and decided, well, what if it's all my fault? What if it's all my fault? None of this is your fault. Man, the books that we were reading about leadership during that time, mind-blowing, okay? There's one called The Peace Giver. It's a Christian book, but man, absolutely amazing. There's another one called Leadership and Self-Deception. Absolutely amazing book. For men, okay? Why? Because it teaches men that they're responsible for everything in their lives. They're responsible. They own it, okay? They own every single problem. If anyone has any issues with them, as a leader, you're supposed to own everything. And if women begin to own responsibility, they're taking away the ownership from the man. If the man begins to believe that, oh, it's other people's fault, then he can't change anymore, right? The moment you blame, your ability to change the situation ceases to exist, right? And me as a man, if I blame my wife, then I'm expecting her to change. Because she needs to change or else nothing's going to change. You got to change. That's your problem. So, up to you. Not so. If I own all of her problems, I will begin to try to figure it out. Man, it is insane when men begin to understand this, that they can actually control not their wife, or not their women at all, but control the environment that surrounds their woman in such a way that the woman can be free, emotionally free, and vent out everything that she thinks about, vent out everything that she's feeling, vent out all the secrets that she has, everything that she says, in order for her not to get the exponential growth curve in negative things. We want exponential growth in the positive aspects of life. But that's very often the thing that she's like, very often women are trying to be positive these days because of the positivity movement, right? But it makes things worse. It makes things darker, okay? Because you are trying to control your positivity, but it's causing darkness in your life because you're not able to control everything else. So, what am I saying? We have to start... What ended up happening is that we now know it's not their fault. It's all men's fault. So before we were like, women are the problem, and women are the solution, right? But now we understood that actually men are the problem, and they're also the solution. Men are the problem, men are the solution. Why are men the problem? Because they're the ones that are causing the issues that women have. If men were perfect and absolutely amazing and fulfilled the conditions that are necessary for a woman to love him and to be passionate about him and to be attracted to him continuously for life, if he fulfills those conditions, a woman can now have unconditional love. If he does not fulfill those conditions, she will not have unconditional love, because unconditional love requires discipline. We don't want women to discipline themselves, because the more they try to control themselves, the less they're able to control themselves. So if we understand that aspect, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So very briefly now, let's start afresh. Let's start from scratch. Let's imagine that women are perfect. They're good. They're inherently good. They inherently care. They're designed in such a way as to mother, to nurture. That's their nature. And if we allow them to fulfill the measure of their creation, which is to care for those that are in their close vicinity, then their lives will be amazing. And our job as men, okay, I'm thinking about us now, the guys on the Men of High Value channel that I'm trying to raise and teach them, raising leaders, right? The more I can help them to understand that it's all their fault, and they can create the perfect environment for women to thrive. To not be told what to do, but to simply express all of their emotions continuously. Because it's immediate feedback to men. The moment women stop saying the truth and they keep secrets, we no longer know the cause and effect, right? If you have a secret, I can't solve the problem as a man, right? Now you got to be careful with who you share your secrets with, right? You gotta have a man of high value, or you gotta have someone that you really, really trust. In the beginning now, I would talk only with your parents, right? Only with those in your closest vicinity. Don't share your secrets with everyone, because very often women's secrets are very warped, okay? And they keep it all to themselves very often, because they can't tell anyone else, because they'll be judged, right? And if they're judged, they're left behind, they lose friends, they lose things, because trust is very fragile. Okay? And if women truly spoke up about everything that they feel, oh my gosh, there will be a lot of relationships broken because of the trust. So, instead, you need to have, eventually, in the future, you'll have a man that you can vent everything to, and you'll know that he's going to stick to you no matter what. No matter what. Now, he'll have boundaries of, obviously, you don't sleep with any other people. Right? That's one of the huge things for men. However, the magical thing that happens when a woman gives out everything and she emotionally expresses everything, she's venting her fears. It does not build up the pressure cooker. Which means that if a woman tells her man that I'm attracted to that guy, this is what I feel towards that guy, it's the truth. Then the man has the ability to know the truth. There you go. Okay, so now I know that she is attracted to that guy. And now the woman, very often, she's vented it. It's out now. And it probably won't develop into emotional connection, and it won't cause infidelity. Because the exponential growth curve didn't happen. The more she keeps it a secret, the more likely that exponential growth curve is going to happen because of the pressure cooker. The more a woman controls herself, the less she'll be able to control herself. But if she states it, do you understand what I mean? So men are able to, and it's not even men, it's women are able to keep themselves in check by sharing everything with those that they trust. Now I'm talking seriously trust, and that would never leave you no matter what. So anyway, so I was explaining, women are good. Women are honest. Women, if they simply understand these few principles and they actually apply them into their life because they trust the people that they're around, they will be absolutely amazing. Because the moment you vent stuff out and get it out of your system, you don't have to worry about the future. And you don't have to worry about the past, knowing that it's not your fault. Do you understand these aspects? So you'll actually be able to be in the present, the now, in your body, to embrace femininity with all of your heart. This is impossible if you say, no, but I want tons of responsibility. I want to provide for myself. I cannot trust any man to do that for me. And that's more of a priority for me than my health and then my relationships. You're going to try and tackle every single aspect of life. Give away rejection. You don't want rejection. Rejection is going to cause more rejection, and rejection is the thing that you don't want. The biggest rejection in your life, the biggest, is rejecting your true nature, rejecting yourself, rejecting your femininity. The more masculine you are becoming, you are rejecting your true feminine nature. That is the worst thing you can do for yourself, and it's the worst thing for your health. You die faster because of that. It's time for us as a people to help women to remain in their femininity, to enjoy their femininity, and to be allowed to express their emotions, okay, within boundaries in the beginning, because in the beginning, women are very masculine, and if they're very masculine and have very dark thoughts and have mental issues because of what men have done to them in the past, then bad things can happen, right? But if we manage to, over time, get to the point where women are basically as children, in the sense that they express everything, and now they have come to the point where they enjoy their lives because other people are protecting them and providing for them, making sure that they're unrejected and unburdened as much as however possible, women will only have good thoughts. Women will actually enjoy their life. And women will be able to be happy consistently over a long period of time because the environment is consistent. Again, there's so much things I can share with you on this aspect. I'll give you a bonus thing. What happens in the bedroom? For thousands of years, maybe millions of years, men have been stealing women's thunder in the bedroom. Why? Because men have obvious pleasure in the bedroom. Obvious, continuous, and then very often when they're done, they go to sleep. Have you noticed as a woman? I hope you haven't. If you're a virgin, congratulations, keep going. Be voluntary celibate. For those of you who have experienced those aspects, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This is men's fault. This is not your fault. Your sexuality is latent because the necessary environment is not present in order for you to experience your true sexual nature. This is not something that comes from practice or from being massively disciplined. Okay? Even though there are some aspects that you know, in order to learn it, in order to do the things that you want to do in the bedroom, it needs to it requires some discipline and some aspects to achieve those goals. However, if you understand what I've been talking about on this channel, is that the less burdens and rejection women have, the less responsibilities women have, the more they run towards the responsibilities that they want to have. So women, as sexual creatures, the less they have other responsibilities, the more they want to explore their true sexual pleasurable capacity, which is impossible when they're burdened. When they're burdened, it's all about survival, and it's not about sex. But when they're in growth mode, when they're not in survival mode, they don't have any worries, fears, or any problems, then it's about growth. It's about figuring out that which works in the bedroom or whatever else in their lives. So they then begin to apply discipline in the areas of life that are exciting, that are fun for them. Do you understand what I mean? But what men have done for a long period of time is not understanding women's pleasure and not even being freaking interested in what causes women's pleasure. Okay? This needs to stop. And the best way to make that stop is for men to become masculine and to delay gratification. If a man is feminine, he's only going to think about himself in the bedroom. And he's going to ejaculate, and he's going to ejaculate fast. Okay? Because he doesn't care. There's player articles that I've read that say don't care about the woman's pleasure because it's inconsistent. And if you care about women's pleasure, then you're basically being a little beta boy. You're being, because you're trying to put her on a pedestal and you're more excited about her pleasure than your own. A woman it's so warped because they say that a woman's pleasure is so inconsistent, you're not able to control it, so don't worry about it. Because if you're fretting about it, she's going to lose attraction to you because you're not confident. You don't have the ability to do. You don't have power. This is what players explain those guys, and it's horrific. Because they're basically keeping going on with the ugly patriarchal nature of the past where men did not care. You understand that men's pleasure is very closely linked. Like 95% of the pleasure men have in the bedroom comes from seeing their woman fired up, excited, and turned on. This is magic for men. This is what we want. Okay? But when it's inconsistent and you as a man, we as men, try to solve the problem in the bedroom and you critique us and you do this and you do that and it's not really working, then you get arguments instead. Right? Because the man feels inferior now because he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's like, no, I do know what I'm doing. And you're like, obviously you don't because it's not working, you jackass. Right? Do you understand what I mean? Like, I understand how you're feeling. And the reason is because men have not disciplined their thoughts, their emotions, and their behavior. If they were able to control themselves, they would be able to control their ejaculation. And if they're able to control their ejaculation, they can go for as long as you want, whenever you want. Do you understand what I mean? As a woman, that's true. Like, you don't understand how long a man can go, okay, once he controls his thoughts. Because it's all in the mind, right? For men, they have to learn how to control themselves. This is a good thing. In the bedroom, women are the ones who are to let go and to enjoy the process, right? Because the more they let go and relax into the experience, the more their sexuality works, right? But it's so hard to let go for women. And it is. And you know why? Because the moment she begins to let go, the man, and she begins to feel some form of pleasure, the man is like, oh, she's beginning to feel pleasure now. And then he ejaculates. Because it doesn't happen very often to him, other than when she's drunk or massively stimulated with porn or any other stimulation that is going on that is mechanical. Very often the clitoral stimulation, continuous clitoral stimulation, do you understand that as a woman, you don't really want to think about that? You simply want to enjoy the process. You don't want to work for it, right? Especially when you're burdened with everything else in your life. You want to have a relationship with the man where things simply just work automatically and naturally in the bedroom. And this is why we've got 3 Girls in Love. And if you understand how that massively, exponentially increases your pleasure and your being in the now and all the amazing experiences you can have in a family, a trusted unit that's going to last a lifetime. And you are able to be in love with that man forever. And he cares about your pleasure more than his because his goal is semen retention. and you don't see the, you know, the like him losing power. Okay? Because men who practice semen retention, they don't lose their power after sex. They retain it. They don't want to go to sleep. They're fired up outside their brain. Do you understand what I mean? So anyway, there's just some aspects that are just so hidden from the mainstream that I have the ability to share with you guys and tell you that your future with this movement, with the Men of High Value movement and the Three Girls in Love movement, is a bright one. It is a happy one. It is filled with joy, pleasure, happiness, excitement, children, femininity, you know, and a masculine man who takes care of business and makes sure that he brings you everything that you want. Luxurious living. Man, it's too good to be true. No, it's not, when you understand that it's all based upon principles. And if you understand principles, your life is going to be amazing. This is the Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I will see you in the next one.